Morning everybody, welcome to the Wedmore Parish Council meeting on the 16th of March 2022. I'd like to remind you all that we are being recorded, and first of all I'd like to introduce our clerk in waiting, Lindsay, who will be taking over from Rod when he disappears from us next month, sadly. But lovely to have Lindsay, and she's very sweetly here after having a hip operation at the weekend, or last week, Friday. That's dedication, so it's a lovely day. Here we are. Okay, item number 1 is receiving apologies for absence.
Yes, Chair. Apologies from Judy Candy, Jonathan Newton and Peter Tenney.
Super duper. Oh yes, and have we got any news on Pete?
No, I haven't rung Margaret at all. I said she would ring me if there's any issue.
Okay, dear Pete's not been great, so still thinking of them. Item number 2, reports from county and district councillors. Over to our county councillor, David Huxtable.
Chairman, thank you. Well, it's end of term, really, for us. Today was the last cabinet meeting. I was interested to read that, well, today we passed a little bit of sustainable development for your village hall car park. I don't know whether you knew anything about that.
Yes, I do.
Flooding prevention methods. It's coming in under the sort of drainage board. I think they're going to build a sort of relief pond at the bottom of Lascott Hill or something like that. I've not actually seen the...
I think the story is that before I reached the village, there was a significant amount of water that came down the hill, down past the village hall, along the road, and then into the brook. And the idea is that to try and
slow it down.
Slow it down.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a bit of good news. And really, Chairman, just take any questions that you have. And if you don't have any, I will bid you farewell, and hopefully we may meet again in this environment, because I'm conscious of the fact you've got elections as well, and I always feel it's inappropriate for me to come and join a parish council meeting during the election period, which starts, as you know, from Monday. So,
are there any questions for David? Gosh.
Silence is golden. No. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, David.
Best of luck in the elections.
Yes, likewise. Anything from me? No, I don't think anything's happened really since I last saw you. I've got some meetings coming up, but no, nothing of any excitement. Item number 3, to record any declarations of interest.
None I'm aware of.
Item 4, minutes of the meeting held on the 19th of February.
They haven't been circulated. I haven't had any comments back. Everybody's happy.
Matters arising. Item A, update of fire equipment at Cheddar.
David?
Yeah, well, we tried to garner some interest with our colleagues in neighbouring parishes, but with little success, Rob, right?
True.
We are now aware that the equipment is likely going in very, very soon, and that the guys over in Cheddar have been told that that's what you're getting, and stop basically stirring up trouble unnecessarily. That's the gist of it. So a little bit, it is what it is. We expressed our displeasure. We invited them to come here, the Devon and Somerset people. They didn't have people to come here, neither at the last meeting or this meeting, so I think we've said our piece in writing. I really don't know what else we can do. We understand that other parishes have said stuff, but there didn't seem to be an interest in.
Why not?
I don't know.
Okay.
So that's
you can do.
Is there something we can push wider into sort of more public domain?
I think it's going to happen. I mean, it's evidence. Whether something could be turned back later, I don't know. But I mean, Devon and Somerset Fire.
You shouldn't just shrug your shoulders and let things
No.
happen if you're not happy about it happening. You know, it might well happen, but if there's enough public backlash, things might change. Otherwise, we just roll over all the time.
But
We do too often.
I mean, I don't know, it's a bit tricky for me because on the one hand, you know, Devon and Somerset will put forward a very good argument for why the unit should be that unit.
Yeah.
And Cheddar Fire Station put forward a very good argument of why that unit shouldn't be that unit. And I just don't know.
Well, it's
For
without,
me,
it's without the stats that either support
yeah,
one or the
that's
other,
right.
isn't it?
You know, so
without those,
for me, you know, you can see it a little bit from both sides.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I really don't know where we go from here.
Can we request the stats on a freedom of information type thing?
I think it's all too late, isn't it?
It's going to happen by then.
If they've ordered a fleet of new fire engines and they're going to start swapping them around in a week or two's time, I mean, that
Oh,
order's
it's
gone in
literally talking, you know, next week or
Would have
whatever.
gone in a year
The last
ago.
email that I saw, it's coming in.
This is right now.
You know, we've said our piece, and you know, if something happens, heaven forbid, heaven forbid.
I don't think it's fully too late, sorry, because what we were told was the engine wouldn't carry all the goods that it needed to carry. So there is an opportunity for them to buy the extras or have the extras on hand. They wouldn't necessarily have the bigger engine, I'd give you that, but they could have the extra fire extinguishers, or they would...
Well, some of that stuff
They did
was
change it, didn't
some of
they?
that stuff was already changed, Andy. Yeah, some of it was already changed.
Right, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's not the full list, but
No,
there
it
was
wasn't
some
full
of
list,
it.
but some of the what they considered the critical stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one, really, how far we go with it.
Okay. Thank you. B, update on thermal imaging camera.
So I haven't had a chance to get hold of Judy. I've sent her some stuff. It looks like there's a number of different types of camera available. Ones that will plug into your phone, so you get iOS ones or you get Android ones, or a standalone one. It would strike me that a standalone one might be better because it means you haven't got to worry what sort of phone people have. I've been to look into how you capture the images and how you can use them. I was hoping to catch up with Judy before this meeting, but we haven't had a chance. The standalone ones are around about the £500 mark. And I don't know if the software, I would hope that that software is included with it, or it just captures images. So by the next meeting, I would hope to have some more for you.
Okay, thank you. Item C, update on Have Your Say event. You?
Councillor Cox.
So yeah, so obviously,
Councillor Cox.
somebody, as you may know, cancelled the last one. We had put originally a date at the beginning of April. I think it was the first weekend in April, Saturday and Sunday, but I'm really struggling to make that date anyway, so I'm not quite sure what people want to do. Again, those dates were just provisionally booked by David and I, because they were the only ones available in the village hall.
Literally.
Well, the Sunday is actually, Wedmore Opera is doing a singing event
But
on the Sunday.
In the afternoon.
From 1 o'clock.
Yeah, from 1 o'clock. But that.
So it would have been just 2 mornings, but again, it's whether there's enthusiasm and support to support that date. If not, it'd have to be into May.
Talking just now with Alistair before we started, it wouldn't, the doctor's surgery, which was a big part of it, would not be concerned if we pushed it back into May.
Okay.
I think the problem was that it was going to, if we did it, there was only going to be 2 of us for full time for both days, because
I think there's a
the rest of the team were all on away or on leave. So
yeah.
and the other thing is really that we have, despite not having that Have Your Say actual event, the letter that went out brought some response, which included 2 sites that we should look at, and so our feeling is we should do. We were happy to come on that date because we thought it was important that we should be there, but if it is a bit later, it gives us a bit more time to look at those 2 other sites, to flesh out the pluses and the minuses. I have to say, no site is all plus and all, and no site is all minus. There's lots and lots of conflicting things, but if it gives us that bit of extra time and having more of the team there, that would be...
Okay, so we'll push the...
And I think nothing on there is mission critical, is it? I mean, it's all, it's good that we need the village input.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't necessarily need it this week.
No.
You know, it's important that we find a date that's going to work well,
Yeah.
as opposed to a date that we're just going to rush through and
I
have
would
a couple of hours
imagine
here and there.
later on in May, potentially just because of elections
Yeah,
and new
yeah.
parish councillors. So,
Yeah.
but then you've got the Queen's Jubilee coming up at the end. So,
That's the beginning
Well,
of the
that's June, isn't it? Yeah.
So that's.
so yeah.
So
So one of
I'll
the
check
weekends in
what,
May,
I'll check
probably
with
the third
the village
weekend.
hall booking secretary and see what
Sean?
When you see it.
when we see her next. See what dates are
Hello,
available.
talk. Sean?
Alison, you said 2 other sites, does that make now 3, or do you mean just one other site making 2?
There are 3.
3, oh, okay.
Well, just to be clear, the Worthington Woods site ticks boxes which the other site doesn't, but it has the contrary thing of overhead power lines, pipes running underground all over the place, and a big earth sump area which is a stormwater overflow from the car park.
Attenuation pond.
So there's all of that. Wessex Water are saying they would definitely object to it on the grounds of smell and flies. So those are the negatives. And a few other issues, like the access to the site for the builders means bringing HGVs, low loaders, diggers and things in through the Cheddar Road into the car park, unloading. And so in some ways it's quite a lot of disruption there. So, but you know,
It would be a shame to ruin all the good work that's
Oh,
been
totally.
done
But
Yeah,
let's.
I know.
Agree.
And so that's the second site. The third one is we had a letter from a developer who has an option on the land above St Medard Road, and they're saying that they will be bringing forward proposals to the next local plan development, and that they might be able to fit us out with a surgery there. The only detail we have is in the middle of that field they put a red star. That's the only detail we have. So
So it's all up in the air.
it is.
red stars anywhere.
Brilliant. So we're gonna pump for a date hopefully in May.
Polly, on the date of that one, don't forget, I know it's a month further on than the end of May, the street fair. You could always put something up in the street fair.
It's going to be delayed that long, yeah.
If it's, it starts in
Yeah,
July.
potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll-
Well, we'll have a look for dates. I mean, there might
Yeah.
not be an available date.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Okay. D, update on safe crossing at Blackford. Alistair and I have got to meet with the vets to go through the criteria of what they would want in some form of legal agreement, and then we will get quotes from 2 people to do the works, I guess. And so it's ongoing, but nothing's fast, as usual. But it's happening slowly. Fair to say, yes? Alistair?
Sorry?
Fair to say that's...
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
yes,
cool,
sorry.
okay.
Just let me see what the next one is.
Item number 6, public participation. I'd like to welcome Kathy.
Okay, hi there.
Lovely Kathy's here. She's going to give us an update.
Yes, thank you. So, it's nice
Kathy.
speaking to you. I don't know whether you all got my short briefing paper. Did that go out before the meeting? Yeah, so I'm not going to go over everything. So we've had 2 years with COVID, so that's obviously been the main thing, but really just to update you on where we are with my 2 colleagues, the 2 Eileens. So the directory, Isle of Wedmore directory, thank you very much for funding that. So a new one went out in autumn 2021 and was distributed to every household. There are more in the various shops, and we have made special efforts for the new people in new houses to get one as well. So that's good. Regular information from the GPs. I link with the GPs, especially Wedmore surgery every month about the item for the Wedmore News. And so there is I hope you've noticed, a health feature in the Wedmore News every month. And 9 times out of 10, it's what they want, but sometimes they haven't got any ideas, so it's what is topical, or a combination of the two really. The main thing that we've been trying to do for the last 2 years is have our second Wellbeing Day. The first one way back in 2019, I think, wasn't it? So I think we're on to our third proposed date now, which is September the 17th. So we'll do a similar format to last time because it worked quite well with having the 3 venues. And the idea will be that we have as many exhibitors as possible who are related to health and well-being, our clubs and organisations, but also things like fire, ambulance, etc., etc. So things with a broad sort of health and well-being focus on that day. And request for some funds, please, for that I have asked before, and I think you have agreed to, but it'll be the hire of the venues, some posters, some banners, that's the main thing, please. The website is ongoing, www.whawb, Wedmore Health and Wellbeing. So over the last couple of years, the main thing that's been on there has been COVID, understandably. But I'm hoping that as things ease, possibly, there'll be other things on there. But I do trawl I have an email every day, an update from the government that at the moment, as I say, is mainly to do with COVID. And if there's anything that is relevant to everybody, then I get a link to that on the website. So I don't put things to do with haulage tractors and things like that, but things that are relevant to everybody, I will put a link on there. I say obviously Philip does it. I just ask him. And then and also I've put in here the site hosts the Isle of Wedmore Good Neighbours scheme, which, as you know, has been going for about a year now, and I'm heavily involved with that. And so that's got information about Wedmore Good Neighbours. The one thing I did want to talk to you about is the Dementia Friendly Community Project. And 2 years ago, virtually to the day, we had a steering group meeting to try and set up a Dementia Friendly Community Project. And we had a lot of people who were interested, which was great. But then we just had to shelve it because it just wasn't feasible to do it. So it would be really good if we could relaunch it. But I'm really looking for people to help with that, and so far I've not been very successful. So I put a plea out in the Wedmore News in January, but I didn't get any response from that. I just feel I've got very much involved with Good Neighbours. I'm secretary of that, and although I want to have an input with Dementia Friendly Community Project, I really feel we need some more key people to help with that. It could be quite a big thing to raise awareness about dementia within the community, to enable people to feel more comfortable talking with people with dementia and people who are affected by that. So it really is a community-wide thing to involve businesses, schools, churches, everybody. So there's quite a lot to it. So I really would love some suggestions and offers of anybody who might like to get involved in that, if you think it's still a good idea. So, okay. Any thoughts, really?
Any immediate thoughts? Anyone? Deathly silence?
Is it to try and support the people who support people with dementia, or
it's across the board, really. It's across the board. Right. The Dementia Friendly Community Project comes under the auspices of the Alzheimer's Society, and they have quite a structured scheme for it. And one of the main things is that somebody who is a dementia champion or a dementia ambassador, they're calling them now, will deliver awareness sessions. And they last about 45 minutes, something like that. And I have done the training to do that, but never got an opportunity to deliver a session. So those sessions are very user-friendly, as I say, about 45 minutes maximum, just to raise awareness and to help people not be so scared of dementia really, and feel a bit more confident around people with dementia, and feel more able to support people with dementia and people who are affected by it. The schools were interested as well, so it is a sort of intergenerational thing.
Will there be an ambassador on the 17th of September? Will there be a talk there by somebody who could?
That would be
enlighten
great.
them?
That would be great, and that was one of my thoughts. But I'd like to feel that we can do it. Really.
I suppose most people who get involved with those things are people who are closest to someone who with dementia or starting to experience it. They want to learn more, so that's your there to take into it, isn't it?
Yes.
Otherwise,
or professionals.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, we all carry on blissfully unaware. Yeah. Okay. Questions for Kathy?
So do we know how many people might be dementia within Wedmore? Obviously it's a national thing, but within Wedmore that it might be on their own, in fact, and because their families live further away and they're vulnerable.
I don't know a number,
No.
but all I know is from the health agent and the health coach and village agent. They say there are people with dementia in Wedmore, and I'm sure we know some personally, but how many that would be, I don't know. But I think we all can be affected by it, just, perhaps in a shop and somebody's perhaps a little uncertain or saying something we don't quite understand. I think it's really about a community-wide raising awareness, so we all become more comfortable and confident with people with dementia and more understanding, really. So
the Parish Council to take the lead and promote it somehow.
Do a link to Kathy's website from ours.
Yeah.
We do. I should look, shouldn't
I know.
She's just got logged on you.
Well, as usual, it'll take someone championing that and taking it on. So, it's.
I mean, just a statement of support from the Parish Council, but not having to commit because we've stretched in other directions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's an awful lot of money involved with it, really. It's and the initial inquiries that some of the businesses in Wedmore were perhaps going to offer a venue for the sessions and things like that. So I don't think it hasn't got a huge financial implication.
We know from the one unitary authority, one Somerset unitary, one of the pilots that they're running through, I think it was, wasn't it? That was around well-being, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we know that it's a focus area for one Somerset.
Yeah.
So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea that we have a dedicated representative on Kathy's committee, so to speak. So a councillor that can come and report, and then when we get going with one Somerset, we are tuned in with health and well-being.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would think we should think about, because we know that they are looking at that as a specific area, and that is the sort of thing that's going to be rolled down to the parish councils, to the local community networks.
Lots of changes are coming.
So there's a lot of changes coming. So this is probably quite opportune. Kathy's here that we decide amongst ourselves. We look now for a rep on your committee. I want Kathy. I know that you don't. But that you would then have a direct line in through a representative, and then we pick that up when we understand more about the local community network stuff.
Yeah.
We at least then do have a parish councillor that's happy to be our health and well-being champion, and the dementia side comes into that as well. So that would be my suggestion. How we deal with that, so we can put that as an agenda item for next month, right? I guess, or unless somebody wants to volunteer here and now.
Will we be?
Well, this is it. I think not necessarily next month. I think it needs to go a bit further into to see where the council is and who's
but the principles are the same, right?
Kathy, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
For all your work. Before you go, Kathy, I just want to present you with the replica trophy of Henry Marks.
Hey.
Thank you very much. Big space where the big one was.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
That's
you.
the box that came
Got his
out.
own carrying case as well.
Lovely. Thank you very much. All right. Really chuffed.
Oh, well done for all your amazing work, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Where are we? Number 7, financial.
You have to tell us where we are.
Yeah, where are we? Item number 7, financial matters.
Yes, the council has been audited, examined by Emily and Isabel. All in all, with a books balance, I'm pleased to say.
Pretty good.
So you're happy with those? I mean, all the bills have been paid as per the agenda here.
Super, thank you. Item number 8, to approve the minutes of the Highways Committee held on the 22nd of February 22.
They've been circulated, all the members of the committee are happy.
Yeah.
Get the chairman to sign those.
Thank you.
Sue's not here, but
Yes, Sue's not here, so the...
you can sign those on behalf of you.
Yeah, okay. Super. Item number 9, to approve the minutes of the Planning Committee held on the 2nd of March 2022.
They've also been circulated, everybody happy with those?
Yeah. Okay, I'll sign those. Oh, I haven't got a pen.
Thank you very much.
Super.
Go right through the table.
Yes. Item number 10, to consider the renewal of the lease at Mill Village Hall. Over to you, Sean Thorogood.
Thank you. We had a meeting 2 weeks ago after a big appeal in Field to try and get people to form a new committee. There was about 55 people there, which was absolutely amazing. We saw probably about 10 new faces, and they all emailed, and about 4 of them came up to us and buttonholed us, which is the other way around, saying they wanted to be involved in the committee. Young people, old people, people in the trade, people that were very successful businessmen who were asking some very penetrating questions about the last 20 years. So it was very successful. Well, because there was a history, thing done by Mr. Bodley about when they first applied for money 35 years ago, there was ideas brought forward about it being a centre for well-being, a business hub, free kids' time in the hall, which we would waive fees, and more Green Man events. So that was very successful, and there was a lot of enthusiasm. We have a new council now. Some of them are new to the community, sorry, not council, I think committee. So we have fully elected members, and we'll have a representative from every one of the user groups. And the first AGM, the new committee hasn't been formed yet, because it can't be until the AGM is happening in mid-April. But the big issue is the lease. There's only 6 years left, and when it says about considering the lease, we're considering about 3 years, and the glacial movement of the diocese has led to some problems. Chief amongst them is I was tasked with looking at 6 or 7 grants, which was very kindly provided by Somerset Community Council. None of them we can apply for because all of them have to have, at the minimum is 10 years lease, and Viridor has got a fantastic offer, and I spoke to Viridor Credits for about half an hour on the phone, and it's a 24-year lease. So, and they're offering up to £100,000, and if you ask for more than 50, they will come and do a visit with a team to go through your minutes and everything to just see how good your governance is. And I have to say our governance because of COVID has been slightly affected. So we are not entitled to any grants at the moment according to the criteria. The other reason for really going for this lease now is because somebody in the village has offered the whole of the orchard and the building on the back, which he owns, to be bequeathed to the hall. But he won't do that on a 6-year lease because what could happen is the church at the end of the 6-year lease, so they were selling it, and then they would get that land and that nice building attached to it at the back, which has got some very good uses for maybe putting heating equipment in there. That person is not well, and so, in quotes, you need to get rid of one. It's taken 2 years, and we're hoping that we can do that right now. The fabric of a building needs an upgrade, and to exemplify that, if you go into the back building, you can still see the Dad's Army gurneys on the wall. They are still there from 1943. So nothing's been touched really. Obviously there's been some upgrades. We've put plans in, but we're ripping them up and writing them again cheaply because utility bills are going up and our plans are, running costs will be crazy. So I emailed Alistair and asked him if he could waive the idea of the 2,500 being matched funded by us. We've got about £4,000 in our account. Compared to the others, 2 Brick Village Halls, that's a lot less. We need contingency money, and the Wedmore Parish Council is the leaseholder, and we would just like the whole of the legal fees to be paid for by the Parish Council. In order that then we can then get that out of the way, get the bequeathment out of the way, and then start applying for grants. We've missed 3 grants because, they were because we don't pay business rates. And I was told by Simon Tomes from Wedmore Parish Council there's absolutely no reason why we should not apply for business rates. Get on to Sedgemoor, I haven't done that yet. And he said because you get 100% back, it's a no-brainer, which entitled them to £20,000 of grant money. It's the COVID restriction grants. So the proposal is for Wedmore to pay the legal fees, which at the moment, there's no change to the lease, just the extra 64 years is about £1,700. And we asked them, if there's no change, why we pay the legal fees, but that's what the diocese do.
Just following on from what Sean said, so he approached me because I have this role with the grants committee, and it seemed to me that this was not a grant in the way we thought.
Okay.
This is for outside bodies to come to us with their accounts and us, as you know, and we expect them to do something for it. It does seem to me, I'm fully in support of Sean, to say, we must resolve this problem sometime soon, because it seems grossly unfair that one part of our parish is having these difficulties while the other 2 village halls are actually doing extremely well at the moment, based on the payments that have been made. So I suggested he came to this meeting and put on the table a request for that funding. Now, I think if it is the same as Wedmore Village Hall, basically the church leased the village hall to the Parish Council. The Parish Council then set up a lease to, or sublet it to the village hall, which is a charity. So we have the Wedmore Village Hall is a registered charity and has a constitution and a number of trustees and all the rest of it. So it seems to me that's quite a good model. I don't know what Blackford have, but I imagine it's probably pretty similar. So to get from here to there seems to me to get over this lease problem, and then you can start on building up a proper governance structure which will then report back to us as the leaseholder. So I'm just saying I'm very much in favour of what Sean's proposed.
Well, with a new committee, hot to trot, I think it would be really good, because the last treasurer was there 20 years. So, we've got fresh blood and the king with lots of ideas.
Okay, so Sean's proposing that.
I'll second.
So what are you proposing, £1,700 a year? Or we pay the legal fees? Is that
pay the legal fees. Well, the last letter from the diocese was 1,695, I think. I haven't got that exact figure with me, but it said 1,700 circa. So, yes, let's hope they stick to that, because we're not asking them to change anything.
Would it be sensible just adding a bit?
Yes, it would, yes.
Made 2,000.
Okay.
And obviously the invoice needs to be made to the Parish Council to do with the VAT.
Yes.
Okay, so propose a seconder. All those in favour? Great, unanimous. Excellent. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Good work. Item number 11, to discuss the site conditions at Cross Farm development. Andy?
Yes, thank you. I walked down through from Judy's house virtually with Judy on the windy day that we had in the afternoon after it died down a bit, and it was just the sort of overall finish of it, and it was probably my lack of understanding. So you come down from the public footpath down the lane onto a horrible muddy part, which then ends and goes into their footpath, which is all going to get covered in mud. Both sides of that footpath are planted in the loosest sense of the word. They're twigs stuck in the ground of holly and blackthorn, which I thought was perfect for people pushing buggies up to the play area. It's just some of those things that I just don't think that it's fully thought through, and I don't know who by. And we obviously adopt that in time, or adopt some parts of that, or take ownership of it, or something along those lines. Who maintains the paths?
They will be maintaining the main footpath, which is gravelled, because they will, as my understanding is, the residents will be paying a service charge towards the maintenance of the sites. However, it's also my understanding that the muddy part up by the play area, which we will be adopting once they're finished on site, I would imagine as riparian owners of that path we will have to maintain. However, I have emailed Louis Polistroni, who is one of the site managers, to say that you can't leave the path like that. And he said, oh, it's like that because the cows got out. I said, it's not like that because the cows got out, because that was months ago. It is a muddy mess, you cannot leave it like that. I met with a parks chap from Sedgemoor yesterday, just to look at the area as a whole that we will be taking on as the play area and outdoor space. Because I'm not happy with how the play area is being left, because apparently they're just going to grass seed it. Well, it's rough and full of stones, and Scott Mason is not happy either. He's also in quite close contact with them at the moment with Acorn because of the phase 2 development. He wasn't impressed with the path either, the so-called footpath. He couldn't understand why they hadn't continued the gravel along to make it a nice path, but that's obviously a cost, isn't it?
It is.
So the hedging, I imagine, they will be cutting back once, it grows. They will be, I would imagine, maintaining it. They will have to.
The whole estate's got holly trees. They're privately owned in many cases now.
Yeah.
So the post office as well.
That's what they've decided to do is holly everywhere. I don't quite understand why holly.
I would imagine that that's being specified by the landscape officer from Sedgemoor.
Yes, there will have been a landscaping plan with plants and types of plants.
But the landscape officer can specify what he wants in the plant.
However, a lot of the other planting is very nice. So they will have, the main part of it will be maintaining, and we will, I would imagine, be the riparian owners of that footpath because it will be next to the play area.
Yeah, it was just the sort of whole process of going through that whole process, and it just struck me as just a nonsensible thing to do, to plant that sort of those sort of things alongside the footpath.
Would have gone back into an agreement years ago, I would imagine, before most of our time. So the developers all they will say is, well, it was in the in the plans. That's that. Sorry, and that's how they are dealing with me, because when I send pictures of a muddy pile and just say this is always going to be like this, it's not satisfactory. Well, we're going to grass it, and that was what was in the plans. So, well, that's not good enough. So it's I'm nagging, but they're pretty much ignoring, not even responding to my emails now. But
So we need to get off the line somewhere.
they have to wait for me to sign off the play area. I won't be signing off that play area until I'm satisfied. So they will just have to wait. And that footpath is a similar thing. It has to be, but it is incredibly wet, and of course the grass seed hasn't taken properly yet, but it needs levelling. So I'm with you, Andy.
Yeah.
As in the planting, they're not going to start ripping it out because we don't like it. It'll be in the plans, but they will have to maintain it. And the minute it's not being maintained,
it's more lessons learned for the next time and the next time and the next time.
Yeah.
There won't be lots of next
Absolutely. It's the minutiae of the
but
detail.
it's just picking out on those bits that we don't suddenly get stung with
Yeah.
or get the thorn in our side later on.
Exactly, I'm with you. Item number
Can I just ask, is there access for horses to come up through that way? There's 2 horses wander.
It's a footpath, not a bridle way.
Oh, there's 2 horses came on.
Well, they won't be able to get through eventually because the gate will be shut. So, unless they want to jump that great big gate.
Horses on their own.
No, it's not a bridle way, definitely not.
Just on, if it's not a bridle way, can horses legally use a footpath?
No.
So should there maybe be a sign on there, because that's not going to help them much very much.
Well, let's just watch this space.
Well, most people won't be walking, generally riding their horses up through a housing estate along a gravelled path. It would be unusual, but when it's properly all closed off, they won't be able to get through at the end, so they'll be a bit silly. Item number 12, to approve the national pay agreement
Most important item.
0.75% for council clerks.
Just to point out, Chairman, that we haven't had a pay rise for 2 years, and they had a national agreement, for 1.75%.
Excellent.
Thank you. It's certainly for our new grant,
Yes.
and mine's backdated last April. But it has to be approved by the council, that's all.
Yes, well,
So hopefully everybody will say.
are we all in agreement with that? Do we all agree?
Thank you.
Propose it, seconder, Isabel, all those in favour?
Thank you.
Great, lovely, thank you very much.
0.175, yeah.
Item 13, to approve the annual amenity grants to the village halls.
Yes, Chairman, as you probably, you're all aware, I suppose, that we always give a £500 grant to all the village halls this time of the year, as just to support their ongoing costs.
Okay.
And perhaps I'd like to propose we do that again.
We haven't had a pay rise in a long time. Can we do that?
Sorry, who was that?
David and Alistair second.
Thank you, Alistair.
Brilliant.
That's £500 each to the village halls.
All in favour?
Yeah.
Thank you, I'll get that done tomorrow.
To consider a worthy recipient of the Henry Butt Trophy.
Yeah, so far we've had, I think, 7 nominations.
Very
I
exciting.
won't tell you who they are because the camera's on. It's a big secret, but it will be decided at the next meeting, the April meeting. You have to be here to vote on it. It's a secret vote.
Secret squirrels.
And you saw Kathy Button won it previous year.
Yeah.
So we've got 7 good nominees so far.
Okay.
Very good.
But if anybody wants to nominate between now and the next meeting, send me an email pretty quick.
Get on with it. Super. Item 15, issues and questions raised by councillors. I'll start. Alistair?
Can't think of one at the moment.
Brilliant.
Let's go around you first.
Yes, just an update on the Queen's Jubilee event on Sunday, the June. So obviously not for this meeting, but one to bring to next week. I'll gauge kind of we're looking to finance some of the activity with regards to that. So they've got the road closure, etc. So to gauge people's reactions before we bring it back to council. So obviously we're hoping to have to close the borough, have a street picnic party type event with a few food and drink stalls, etc. We've got the local businesses involved, etc. Yeah, just wanted to.
Okay, so that's going to be on the agenda for next month.
So we'll put it on the agenda for next month. It'll be similar, probably the cost structure will be similar to Landlight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask, did you avail of the grant, the Jubilee grants, which are available? I think I sent an email out.
Yes, you did, but it was specific for something, and I can't remember what. We discussed that, didn't we?
I think it was Jubilee parties.
No, but it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
If you read it, if you read the devil was in the detail, wasn't it? We did look at it.
So it looks good.
We said that. I can't remember what it was now.
Oh, okay, I just thought it was.
But it was, no.
Okay.
I wish.
No.
Yeah, but no, but.
David Curry, have you got anything? There's just a little double up there.
The
David as hot as one.
Yeah.
Okay. Emily?
No, but I will just, on the back of that, so Blackford are having a Jubilee event on the Saturday on the 4th.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Jackie?
No.
Andy? Sean? This is shaking heads before I can get there. Perhaps. Isabel?
Public right of way
Yes.
between Methodist Church and
Oh, yes.
Hillcorn Street.
Oh,
I've
yes.
been emailed with the pro officer Chris East,
Yes, good.
and he had said that he'd been up last year had got abuse from people going across, and that could we remind people to use the path and keep dogs on their lead, etc., etc. I said yes, of course, but most of the complaints have been about the person owns the dogs and who owns the field, and that there is no public pathway or public finger post either side. And he said it wasn't safe to put it at the Methodist side, but there should have been one at the Pilcorn Street side. He said if there wasn't, he would put one up very shortly. And then I had been back through, and there actually the finger post is lying down in the hedge, but it's all rotten at the bottom, so I think it's either fallen over or whatever. So I'm hoping that Chrissy still
He is going to put a new one
put a
on.
new
Yeah.
one on. Well, he confirmed by email that he would. So, and there's been quite a furore in
Wedmore
Facebook.
matters,
Yes.
Yes.
But hopefully it's been resolved now that the finger post is now going to be up, which I thought that you had
Yes, I
confirmed.
had conversations with him
Yes.
about it.
So hopefully that's going to maybe settle everything back down again.
Two sides to every story.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Lovely.
Yeah.
Glenys? No, super, I've got nothing. Either, I don't think. 16 correspondence, committee reports, cemetery.
No, nothing. When's the person going to do the...
I can't remember, it was on the calendar.
July,
I think in July, yeah. We get the tarmacking done, that's a great day.
Okie dokie, Drury. Facilities, allotments and footpaths.
No, I'll speak.
Nothing,
No,
Lily?
there's some stuff Julie and I do need to talk about. But
Oh, allotments, I've got something on the allotments. That Acorn are going to be digging the middle bit of the path up, finally, as part of the agreement. They're leaving the spoil by the end of plot 14, because Judy has requested that happens and it'll get moved. Might need to use it on the play area at some stage, so it could get used up.
With the path,
So the path as you drive along with grass, coming up through the middle, we had complaints about people's cars getting caught on the bottom, so they are, we are getting the developers to level it. As requested by the allotment holders. Yeah, anyway.
the ones at the bottom,
Yeah, there we are.
apparently.
Finance and general purposes,
No.
nothing. Housing, nothing. Highways, car park and brook.
We've just had a meeting.
Planning.
Meeting next week, next Wednesday.
Yeah.
There's an extra one come out today. Well,
I saw that, yes.
To do with the playing fields
Yeah.
again. So I've put it on the new agenda and sent it out tonight.
Okay, super. Reports from representatives on committees. Isle of Wedmore News.
No, second.
Play areas.
I just received the annual inspection report, so I'll get them circulated tomorrow.
Oh, thank
to
you.
You see what's...
I did speak to my friend who's health and safety for Sedgemoor regarding the incident that we had up at Wedmore, and all their parks have a no smoking, no alcohol sign, so I would suggest that we get 4 signs for all the play areas. It won't necessarily have any effect, but I think we probably ought to put some signs up.
Good plan. Yeah.
Tell you later.
Okie dokes. Salk.
No.
Wedmore Playing Fields Management Committee.
Plug is open.
Sorry?
The plug is open.
Yeah, really busy on Saturday.
Yes.
Very good.
Busy tonight.
Busy tonight.
It was busy last night, was playing tennis,
Yeah.
very loud, it was great. Nice to hear everyone, all the kids screeching,
Excellent.
having fun. It's good news, it's a great facility.
Yeah.
Village halls, Alistair?
Well, as we know, the village hall suffered rather during the storm. Repairs have been done, and probably more concerning was because the tiles on the roof had moved, it caused a sort of pressure wave and knocked out a piece of plaster, a big piece of chunk of plaster out of the roof, which rather unfortunately fell on some people who were there.
Who shouldn't have been there?
Yeah, but that's they've had somebody in to look at that and to make sure it's all safe, and it's now open and running again.
Right. We haven't got lovely Pete here, and Sean, we've had some...
Yeah, just next to your diaries, the 25th, there is a Ukrainian Jumble sale in the field. Quality Jumble. Actually, there's a load of stuff left because they just want to get rid of it. So that's been advertised.
26th.
26th.
It is on Saturday the 26th.
Saturday the 26th, sorry about that. And this Saturday, check the dates again, 19th of March, there's a Green Man event in the orchard. It's going to be outdoors with a fire pit. The weather looks really good. Beer and 3 tents led by the Scouts and some amplified music. And on the 9th of April, there is a gig on there to fundraise with a band, no food, just a band. We need to sell 80 tickets.
Fundraise for?
For Village Hall.
The Village Hall,
Yeah,
great.
any profits.
Great.
Okay, that's lovely. Good stuff. It'd be really nice to get Phil up and going again. You know, that's the pub's not there anymore. It'd be a nice little hub. Item 18, matters of report.
I think Green Wedmore's been missed off the list.
Oh, sorry, Maria.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Green Wedmore.
Cut and paste, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
So from the last Green Wedmore meeting, we had a very successful working party day at Worthington Woods. On the 3rd of April, there's going to be a free cycle day, and they really would like to run the repair cafe later in the year, but nobody is stepping forward to organise it. So there's lots of people who are happy to help, but they just need one person to, so if anyone knows anyone who would be happy to do that, then I don't know.
Sorry about
I'm just watching David Kelly tucking his hands right under his armpits. Thanks, Emily. Item number 18, matters of report and items to the next meeting. Can you get everything
in good time, please.
In good time, would be super. And I close the meeting at 8:23. Thank you very much
Just
for
turn
your
the camera off a
attendance.
minute.